It's episode 522 of the Locked On Texas Rangers podcast. On today's pod, I'm joined by Rangers prospect expert Grant Schiller to rank 5 things we want to see in this new collective bargaining agreement that is hopefully going to be coming to some kind of agreement in the next month or so we can actually have a full baseball season and a full spring training. All that and more coming up on this episode of Locked On Rangers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are locked on to the Texas Rangers. I'm your host, Brice Paterik. Here today, joining me is prospect expert, Rangers expert, Grant Schiller at OG Show on Twitter. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Rangers your first listen of the day. If you're not already, go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Brice Paterik. Follow Grant at OG Show. Follow the show at Locked On Rangers. And if you're not already, subscribe on YouTube. We are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by opening day. It's an ambitious goal, but if the Rangers can spend $500 million in 2 days this offseason, then we can hit 1,000 subscribers by April or whenever the heck this comes. Grant, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good. How many subscribers are you at right now?
440.
Okay. So I just need to create 560 accounts.
Yeah, you can.
And you're there.
You can definitely do that. I mean, it looked more doable when I got like 100 or 200 in a week. It's not looking like the Rangers are going to keep spending $500 million.
If they would, though, it would be easier.
It would be much easier. I might be the greatest show on YouTube by that point, but or just take over the entire Locked On network. But we're not there, and we're not here to talk about me taking over the network just yet. We're talking about me taking over baseball, us taking over baseball. If we were the ones making this new CBA as unilateral dictators, what are 5 things that we would want in the CBA? But first, there's a bit of news that came out. Not any, player signing news or CBA news, but some stupid news. Ken Rosenthal and MLB Network are parting ways because Ken Rosenthal told the truth about how bad a job Rob Manfred has been doing, which is literally his job. He is a journalist. This report comes from Andrew Marchand of the New York Post. But he talked about how because he was so critical, Rob Manfred did not like his handling, and MLB Network didn't like his handling of the situation, of literally just saying that Rob Manfred's not doing a good job in 2020 and hasn't been doing a good job in 2021 with this lockout stuff. Nothing that Ken said was even inflammatory or even a little bit untrue. He was just his normal best reporter in baseball self and just, sticking with the news like, hey, this is not being well received on many sides. And Rob Manfred's like, but yes, it is. Screw you. So you don't get to be on MLB Network, which I don't know. I know I have a lot of thoughts on it. How do you feel about this news? I feel like it's stupid, but do you feel like it's a bit of an overreaction?
I think it's so stupid. I mean, I don't know. So, I mean, I guess we don't know exactly the inner workings, but if it really, truly is Rosenthal criticizes Manfred, so Manfred takes him off MLB Network, how are we supposed to ever trust that channel, right? Because it becomes an MLB propaganda channel at that point. If you're the commissioner of a sport, you have to be able to take criticism from journalists of that sport. Like, that's just how it works. You cannot be thin-skinned. You can't be soft on that stuff. No, nobody in the world wants less Ken Rosenthal, Jason Stark, or Tim Kirkjian. So if you go after any of those 3 reporters, you're losing that PR battle.
Or Jeff Passan.
Or yes, well,
Passan's almost for me. He's in there.
I could use less Jeff Passan, but I see where you're coming. I think most people would agree with you.
Yeah, but Ken has been the stalwart, like the guy in baseball, and like through generations, he's always been like a top 3 reporter, and he has stayed credible and relevant in every turn since I've been paying attention to baseball, and probably a long time before then, because I don't know how old Ken is, but he does not age very much. So he, looks like he's 40. Maybe he's like 70 years old at this point, and he's just fooling us at all. Instead of being tall, he used his powers for longevity, in which case I respect him very much, even more so for this. But again, I mean, all the channels that are like NBA or NBA TV, NFL Network, MLB Network, NHL Network. They're all like a little bit state media, and like so are the channels that broadcast those games.
Sure.
Not that they're trying to be, but it's just kind of the nature of the game. You can't just go out and lob a bunch of criticism. I mean, when I used to work for Fox Sports Southwest, now Valley Sports Southwest, they had tell us like, hey, running social media, like, hey, you got to be very careful about like the things that you say because you got to have a very good relationship with those teams. Otherwise, they will terminate your contracts and also the sport. Otherwise, those places, their money comes from those teams and those sports, and those teams and those leagues have a lot of say over what is being said about them on the place where you're broadcasting the game. That's why a lot of these, if you watch MLB TV or any of the like Game Pass, whatever, local broadcasts on certain teams, a lot of them will be very, very homer centric. And that's kind of, dictated by the team of like, this is kind of how things have to be. Some teams are more loosey goosey with it. Some teams, they're like, all right, just, go do a good job. Just don't say like F the team. Like it's fine. But like some teams are very, very protective of what you can say while being the home broadcast of their games. So it kind of makes sense. And it also kind of frees Ken Rosenthal. Like, I don't know how much they're paying him, but this is his like third job. His primary job is with The Athletic. He's also a correspondent with Fox Sports, and I'm sure they pay him more than LB Network. And now he can be a little bit, I mean, Fox has got to be a little careful because they're also a TV network, and so a lot of their money comes from broadcasting those games. So you got to be a little careful what he's saying on Fox. But The Athletic, I mean, he can go say whatever he wants, and he's not one to just go blasting off on Rob Manfred just because he doesn't like him or whatever. He's like literally just being upfront, and so it kind of reveals the ugly back door of like, hey, this is basically a propaganda channel. It's not a news channel, and like, that's fine if you just kind of know what it is and it doesn't pretend to be something else. Like, you just got to kind of be aware of that when you're watching it. And this really peels back the curtains. Like, yep, this is what it is. So we're not hiding it anymore.
Yeah. And it just sucks. Yeah, because like you said, I think most of these channels are like that. But now it's just so in your face. Like, you can't ignore it. Like, 100% that's what it is now, which sucks. But you don't have to answer this because I don't mean to affect your chances of future employment. But I forgot you were a proud Sinclair graduate.
I am a Sinclair graduate, and some people have decided to delete their tweets blasting Rob Manfred. I will stand by. I don't really want to work for the league. That's not an ambition of mine. That's not where I want. I like being unbiased and untethered. Thankfully, Locked On lets me do that, and I really appreciate them for giving me that editorial, range to just, if Rob Manfred is doing something dumb or the Rangers are doing something dumb, they're like, yeah, let them have it. Speak the truth, and I appreciate that they give me that range to just go in. And I'm never one to. Well, sometimes I'll just go in on people because I don't like them. It's mainly just the Astros as a whole. I try not to be too personal about it. Not like, hey, Carlos Correa, he's got a stupid face and a jerk butt. Like, no, it's like, I don't like the way he said or the way that he was involved in a cheating scandal. It's like, you got to kind of.
Andy has a stupid jerk butt.
Oh, I'll let you say that. I'm not going to go there because I have my credibility and my integrity a little bit. Not that much, but I have enough of it. This episode is brought to you by Built Bar. It's the new year, and that means New Year's resolutions. And if yours is about getting fit or eating healthier, make sure to include Built Bar in your plan. Built Bar is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. Some of them taste even better than some candy bars, and Built Bar makes it so easy to stick to those resolutions. It tastes good and you'll want to eat it, unlike the other protein bars that can be chalky, waxy, or taste like a chemical spill. There's not the kind of chemical spills that gave Superman his powers or whatever superhero their powers. They're not going to give you powers. They're just going to taste bad. You don't want that from your protein bar. It's going to make it hard to stick those resolutions. You're going to eat something, chocolatey and, sugary and bad for you, but instead eat something chocolatey and not sugary and good for you. And those are Built Bars. Both of those Built Bars, they contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. Compare that to a candy bar that usually has around 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. That is a a bum deal. You got to go get those Built bars. They are fantastic. They're delicious. And you can go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, and you'll get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. And now back to my talk with Grant Schiller. But yeah, it's just kind of the nature of the beast. And I will let you know that I will stand by my Rob Manfred is bad tweets. And I will continue standing by them, even if it gets me fired from a job that I don't want in the future. Hopefully that won't actually happen, but I don't think he has the power to fire me from Locked On. If so, then that would take some really thin. He had to listen to a whole lot of people criticizing him before he got to me, and that would be more of an indictment on him than an indictment on me, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a fair take. I think the biggest indictment is firing literally Ken Rosenthal.
Yeah, literally that guy. You can fire anybody. It's like, okay, all right, we know who you are. We already knew who you were, but like, come on, Rob Manfred. It was like 2 days into the year, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna start the year off with some baseball news, not some good news, because that would not be very baseball of it. But anyway, we were allegedly going to get into 5 things we wanted from the new CBA. I have quite a few. I don't know if you have as many, but I'll let you go ahead and start off with your first one, because I'm pretty sure at least the first one that you have is going to be pretty similar to what I have. So what is the first thing you want from this new CBA?
For it to happen. That's the biggest thing for me, is for Rob Manfred and Tony Clark to put their signatures on the dotted line, and for baseball to exist. That's number one, and probably numbers 2 through 5 for me, but I'll come up with some others.
That's solid. I mean, you have a time frame of what just full spring training, just happen in general, not
right. Full spring training.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
in time for a full spring training.
I did not have that as one of my 7, but I 110% agree with it. I would like there to be baseball. I already did half a year with no baseball, and it sucked. And then the baseball that happened after that was really terrible. So I'd rather not go. I can go another 2 months of talking about, what's it going to be like with Corey Seager and Marcus Semien? And then I'd like to actually at some point, sooner rather than later, see those two in action in a Rangers uniform, as opposed to just at a press conference with the uniform over a suit. Like, as good as that looks and as happy as it made me, I would like to see them doing baseball things while wearing Rangers gear.
I would like to see Brock Burke throwing at 45 feet to whoever this year's John Hicks is on February 18th.
Is Brock Burke still here? Because I think I messed it. Okay, I wasn't sure what the heck happened, but I'm glad he's still here, and I hope that things can work out for him, because, man, that guy's got a lot of talent when he's healthy. But I'll go with the number one on my list. It's Universal DH. It's about freaking time. Let's make it happen already. It's got, I feel like everybody already wants it, or at least most of the players involved want it. Most of the teams involved want it. Most of, just everybody wants it. It's about time. Pitchers hitting was fun. It's cute. As soon as Bartolo Colon hit that home run, we should have instituted the Universal DH the very next day, because that was it. We peaked. We didn't need to see any more pitchers hitting after that. I mean, can you think of a single moment that you were like, you know what? Yeah, I really needed to see that, of the hundreds of thousands of at-bats that have been had terribly by pitchers in the last, 6 years since then?
So, no. However,
Wait, did you Darvish hit his home run before or after? I think
it was before.
Okay,
it was before.
Good. All right.
So I can't give you many moments. However, I disagree with you. I like having the 2 leagues be different. I like the differentiation between leagues. I think that's unique to baseball. I think it's nice to be able to turn on the NL game and see a different brand of baseball, some different, a really game-changing rule, right? Like, it makes a big impact on strategy and how the game flows. Now, I had that opinion as a fan of an AL team. I think if I was a fan of an NL team, I'd be like, yes, I want the DH. Like, I don't want this to be my primary brand of baseball. But as a secondary brand, I love it.
Yeah, and I kind of get it. And I'm not bemoaning people. My friend Sarah on Twitter, if you're listening to this, I'm not berating you for you loving NL baseball or any of you people who love NL baseball. Like, I get it. It's different. It's fun. But for me and for the sport, I think it just does so much more for the sport. It gives a lot more guys a job. Like, Sarah is a Cubs fan, for instance, and she likes the game without a DH. But if she had DH, then you could have put Kyle Schwarber at DH, and it would have been much better as opposed to having him to watch him try and play catcher or left field. And there are plenty of other players that are like that, and it opens up more jobs for these DH kind of only guys. And every team has one of those, whether they're in the NL or not. Like, everybody's got a DH only guy on their roster, and it just makes the sport a little bit better, makes those lineups a little bit deeper, and it is fun, and it has been fun to see it. But I think it also, like, it's just weird. And I do like weird in baseball, so it's kind of going against my brand of liking weird, dumb things in baseball, because it is kind of weird and dumb sometimes. Not always dumb.
Definitely
but, like,
is.
a lot of times. But it would also mean the last pitcher to ever get a hit in baseball was Zach Greinke, and I think that would be really fitting, because Zach Greinke is the best hitting pitcher, non-Shohei Ohtani edition of his generation. Sorry, Madison Bumgarner, just because you hit some more dingers doesn't mean you're a better hitter overall. You know, I like those singles hitters, but no, like, Zach Greinke is a legit good hitter and really loved it. And I think that's really fun. And I know he would love that. He's a Hall of Famer. So I think that would be kind of neat, especially since he was on an AL team at the time. Like, that makes it even more. Wasn't it a pitch hit?
I think you're right.
I want to say that the last.
I mean, he was a legit pretty decent hitter.
No, he really was, because he played shortstop in college, I believe. And he was a really good hitter. And he liked. I think he wanted to play shortstop sometimes and would field ground balls in spring training, if I'm remembering that correctly, from his early days. And he's like, yeah, no, I want to hit, and I'm really good at it. And he was, and that's kind of awesome. But for every Zach Greinke, there's 100 guys who are going to hit 050 and strike out 70% of the time. And it's just like...
But it's different. I just like that it's different. And I think the game of baseball is better with the DH. But I see that all the time in the AL. So when I watch the NL, I appreciate it being different. And I like that it's unique to baseball. The two leagues have different rules. It's like the Eastern Conference and Western Conference don't matter in the NBA, NHL, NFL.
Or literally like any other sport. There's no other sport that does this, and that is kind of cool. But so I'm just saying that's what I want. I wouldn't pitch a fit if it didn't happen, if there was still pitchers hitting in the NL. As long as they don't make it the AL. If they did that, then I would lose my mind very quickly. But I don't think they would do that. That would be really stupid. That'd be like the dumber thing they could do. I suppose they're just taking it out. Let's switch the leagues and make everybody mad. But yeah, that is my number one thing. What is your number two on your list of things that you want?
I don't mean to be like shock jock radio guy. Hot take artist.
This is Shock Jock Grant Schiller, 8:20 a.m. in the mornings.
But I would have to retire.
That's on my list.
Is it? Okay, so we're both shocked. Okay. That makes me feel better that we're both ridiculous shock jock hot take artists, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, never claimed to be anything else.
Right. Hey, hi, this is Grant from Las Colinas, Texas. This is my first time calling in. I just want to say you do a great job. I just want to say that Rob Manfred is a stain on the game of baseball. I think it's a shame that he has this power he does. And I hope that part of this new CBA, Tony Clark, tells him that he needs to retire.
You know, like, for me, like, it's not personal about Rob Manfred. It's just he's just done such a bad job at every turn. It's not just that, like, oh, I don't like him, I don't like his face and whatever. It's like he just doesn't understand what young fans like about baseball. He doesn't understand what current fans like about baseball. He doesn't understand what potentially new fans would like. He's just throwing rain, and it goes for, like, it's not just him. It's obviously a lot of people in, like, the major league office that just don't really understand what it is people like about baseball. And it's so frustrating to see that and how they just completely miss the mark at every turn. All these different opportunities of, like, things that they could do to bring in fans and things that they do to make it harder. Like how hard it is to watch games on the cable networks, like how they do all these blackouts on MLB TV. Like if you raise the price a little bit and take out the blackouts, and you can just give that money to the regional sports networks that are already getting the money from the MLB TV, then like you would make so many fans so much happier. Like it's just all these little things that keep adding up and keep adding up, and these random PR blunders like getting Ken Rosenthal off of MLB Network and just one thing after another. It's just so frustrating to watch. And there's very few like good sports league managers. Like I thought that Rob Manfred was the worst. Then I saw some of the things that Gary Bettman was doing, especially how he handled the situation with the Chicago Blackhawks and how horribly all of that went. And I'm like, okay, well maybe Rob Manfred's not the worst. He's pretty bad, but he's not that bad yet. He might get there. He's no,
yeah, he might get there.
Well, he might be as hated as Roger Goodell. He might be less hated just by like the number of people because the NFL is just more popular. And even Adam Silver has had his blunders. Like he's not been perfect by any means. Like them not postponing any games in the NBA, and all of these teams that have, you know, rosters half full of people who would basically never be good enough to be in the league, but everyone, like half the league is out with COVID protocols for the last 2 months, but they're still not suspending games. It's kind of sketchy, and I don't love that. But again, commissioners are also only the product. They are employed basically by all the owners. So they only do what the owners want. And so seeing a commissioner be bad is kind of a sign that like the ownership teams are not great and don't understand what people want either.
No, it is. But at the same time, you can still at least project caring about the sport. I think that's where he loses a lot of people, is that it comes off that he's not a baseball fan.
And I think that that's the most frustrating thing. Like at least Roger Goodell likes football, and I don't know much about Bettman. Maybe he acts like he likes hockey sometimes. I can't speak to that because I don't know hockey well enough. I definitely don't know much about Bettman. But all of MLB, the higher ups at every level, at every turn, it feels like they're like, I don't know, I want less baseball. I want to make shorter games. The people are watching less baseball, and it's like that's people don't really care about that. It's like that's the issue. And it's like, you ever asked like fans in general what they care about and what they like about baseball? And for me, one of the most frustrating parts is that MLB social is like some of the best social for any leagues. Like NBA, like the team Twitter accounts are better than anything else, but like the league office, their social media is like it's fine, it's pretty good. But like MLB has Cut 4, and Cut 4, those people are people who understand memes, they understand millennials, they understand Gen Z, they understand the internet and what modern baseball fans like. And I feel like Rob Manfred and the people that are in charge of baseball should just go spend a lot of time talking with those people like, hey, what do you guys like about baseball? What are you finding that young people like about baseball or new fans like about baseball that will bring people in? And how can we, promote this game better or promote our stars or just anything? How can we get people to like baseball again? And they just don't do that. And they're right there. I'm sure their offices aren't that far away. I'm pretty sure they're all in New York. And, New York's not that big. Just like hop on a subway and get over to whatever street and just go talk to those people. Maybe they're even in the same building. I bet they are.
But, yeah, I'm sure they are.
But yeah. So it's not personal, Rob. But I would like a commissioner.
Just do better.
Just be better. Like that's it. Just be a little better. Care about baseball. Maybe watch a couple games. Watch Joey Gallo do some things. Watch Shohei Ohtani play a game of baseball, and I guarantee you will start liking baseball a whole lot. So, yeah, that's definitely on my thing. Okay. And that's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Range. I'll be back with another episode with Grant later this week, I believe on Friday. We'll see when that ends up airing. Thank you guys so much for listening to Locked On Rangers and making it your first listen today. Make sure, if you're not already, go follow me on Twitter at Brice Paterik. Follow the show at Locked On Rangers. Follow Grant at OG Shill. And subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for listening. And until next time, don't forget to enjoy baseball.